Okay, so we can get started. We do have a lot of folks join us. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time, to join the Resources for Manufacturers webinar today. I'm Nandita Nandakumar, and I'm with Impact Washington. Before we start, I'd like to share that this session is being recorded. Your information will not be shared with third parties. Now that that's out of the way, we're hosting this webinar with our partners NIMA and TechHelp, and you'll be hearing from all of our teams today from about the services and opportunities we offer to our manufacturers based out of Washington and Idaho. If you have any questions during the session that you'd like to ask us, please drop it in the Q&A tab that's on top of your screen, a little to the middle, and we will answer it during the Q&A portion at the end of our presentation. Now I'd like to welcome Mark Norton from NIMA to get the webinar started. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Nandita. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. I am looking for, is my presentation on there, Nandita? There we go. Perfect. I'm just going to take a quick minute here because this is really about highlighting TechHelp and Impact Washington and how they can help small and medium businesses and manufacturing concerns. And I'm really a big proponent of both of these groups. They have a ton of services. They're a resource that a lot of manufacturers, I think, underutilize. So I'm looking forward to hearing more today and having them talk about their mission. Real quickly, I want to talk a little bit, if you know about us, we just finished up our annual conference at the Coeur d'Alene Resort. Over 300 attendees, 18 states that were there, folks from different states coming. And just want to talk a little bit very quickly about what's happening right now. As many of you know, we have the Tech Hub Consortium in Spokane applying for a federal EDA grant to do research and development on aerospace materials. We're expecting to hear this month or hopefully next month about whether we will get a grant, and that ask has been $75 million. And this is led by Gonzaga and Lakeside companies. So any of the stuff, if you have more, if you'd like to learn more, feel free to email me after the event. We're doing a lot of collaborating with economic development. One of the reasons we like both TechHelp and Impact Washington is because we're work very closely with the Coeur d'Alene Economic Group and a lot of folks in Idaho and Montana as well. And we're spreading our awareness of the regional chain. We're doing a lot of workforce development. As all of you know, we've got to start developing those trades a lot earlier in the education tracks. A lot of stuff going on K through 12. And feel free, the other thing I would say is check our website out. And we have events. You can sign up for a newsletter. Almost all of our events are open, whether you're a member or non-member to come. Nandita, can you hit the next slide real quick? And then this is just a little bit talking about some of those things that I'm talking about. Manufacturing center that we helped to launch for high school kids here, the different educational institutions that we're involved with for development of careers in manufacturing and trades in our conference. And that's great. And I'm getting ready to turn this back over to the Impact and TechHelp folks, but I think Nandita wanted to put a question into the chat box here, and we'd like to just get your input, if you would, about what you're hoping to get out of this session, and that can kind of help guide the team here as they go into their narratives. So that's it. Back to the Impact and TechHelp team, and thanks everyone again for coming.
That should be in the chat now, so feel free to add some comments on that form, and we'll be sure to address and orient our discussion the rest of the day based on your interests.
Hey, my turn now. Hi, my name is Amy Ruiz. I'm the Supply Chain Program Manager at Impact Washington. For those of you who don't know what Impact Washington or TechHelp is, we are nonprofit organizations. We are dedicated to assisting manufacturers by offering consulting and training services, and basically helping them overcome challenges and improve productivity, and improve competitiveness. They're affiliated with the National Institute of Standards and Technology, better known as NIST. And we are part of a group that it's called Manufacturing Extension Partnership, or MEP. So there is one MEP center in one state, in each state of the country. So Impact Washington is for Washington State, TechHelp is for Idaho, and each state has its own MEP center. We basically work as an extension to the U.S. government initiative to provide affordable manufacturing expertise, particularly aiming to improving competitiveness for small and medium-sized manufacturers. Next slide, please. Next slide, Nandita. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about Impact Washington. We specialize in providing consulting, training, and implementation services in three main areas. The first one is workforce solutions, where we help manufacturers with a systematic approach to maximize employee engagement, retention, satisfaction, and productivity. We also help them with growth and innovation. We provide them with tools and methods to effectively develop new products, customers, markets, and services in general. And the last area, in my personal favorite, operational excellence, which is focused on continuous improvement. And we help them transform the organizations incrementally. Some services that we provide, they could be plan layout, ERP systems implementation, food processing, strategic planning, cybersecurity, supply chain, and many more. Next slide, Nandita. So since our inception in 1997, we have significantly contributed to the manufacturing sector's growth, including increasing sales by 2.1 billion, attracting new investments adding to $1 billion, creating over 19,000 jobs, and generating over 400,000 million in cost saving. We have different partners, a lot of partners. In fact, NIMA, of course, is one of them. We also have WIDA, PNDC, PNNA. We have a great project with the Pacific Northwest Mission Acceleration Center. We also are partners for Seattle May, camps, and many, many more. Next slide, Nandita.
Hi there, I'm
So
Nick.
the way it So the way it works is that we have account executives per region. So we have divided the Washington state in different regions, and we have experts, the ones who have their boots on the ground and the ones that know everything about manufacturing out there. And we have one per region, and their coach or the person that guides them, it's Nick Wilds, and he's here to talk to you.
Howdy. Quick takeaway from this slide is basically we've got boots on the ground throughout the state, ready to serve manufacturers' needs. Jeanette specifically serves Eastern Washington. She's on the call. Maybe wave, Jeanette, real quick. Not only are these regional focused, but we also go deep on some subject matter experts, specifically with food and beverage production processing and with small and rural. And we'll actually talk about a specific program designed for small manufacturers and rural and underserved non-traditional business owners later. Next slide.
Hey everyone, my name is Luke Feast and I'm a client manager, manufacturing specialist with TechHelp, Idaho. Can we go back one, please? There we go. Just to kind of talk about TechHelp specifically, I'm also joined here today by our marketing manager, McHugh.
Hey guys.
He's up here visiting me up. I'm based out of Post Falls in the Coeur d'Alene area. So looking at this map, kind of tying into what Nick said, We got boots on the ground throughout the state. We have manufacturing specialists that are in north central Idaho. We have Pocatello, Twin Falls, and then a lot of our team is based out of Boise with our support and admin. So we have a total of 5 service centers. In addition to that, we have a Studio Blue, which is kind of a student, we call it the student arm of TechHelp, which mainly out of Boise State University, utilizing a lot of the student interns there to do a lot of new product development, marketing, and design support. But in general, these are this is how we are displaced throughout the state. And then if you want to go to the next slide, please. So talking about our impact, and we're being an MEP center, we're okay.
I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good, Nandita. No worries at all. Okay, so talking about our impact, very important to us as far as the program goes, being that Idaho, 14% of the economy is represented through manufacturing and the jobs that it provides. 8% of the jobs in Idaho and 14% of the economy. But one of the things that we strive to do is when working with companies, understand what success looks like for them and how we can help them achieve that. And same as Impact Washington, you'll find that like a lot of the slides and services and products they offer, we do the same thing. And regionally, there's a lot of collaboration between I'm speaking from the Northern Idaho standpoint, between us and Spokane. And it's great to have organizations like NIMA that are kind of a connector for everyone here. So it's kind of, great collaborations of organizations and support. And let's see here. Go ahead.
Luke, I think one good thing to note for the audience is, we're border agnostic, right? So TechHelp has a lot of services, capabilities that Impact might not have, and vice versa. And we're always making referrals back and forth to help get the manufacturer what they need, whether it's in Idaho or Washington.
Yeah.
I think a really good example of that is your Studio Blue for new product creation. Something that we've been working on in our state, and got a lot of Eastern Washington clients that I think could be a good fit for Studio Blue too.
Yeah, for us, that's a great point, Nick. And it's right now, though, it's like for us, it's just mainly out of Boise State. That's probably a model, being that we're a university-based MEP. TechHelp is based out, so we have Boise State, University of Idaho, and Idaho State University, and we're all employees of on our team of one of those universities. And so for us, it's a great collaboration to have. Just being able to utilize student intern programs makes it a lot easier to do things like that. Also, with kind of just collaborating with, we have the Industrial Robotics and Automation department from University of Idaho. That's also based out of the same building here in Coeur d'Alene. So, these are like more resources that are available to kind of bounce ideas off of, find best practices for things and whatnot. So, all right, let's go next slide, please. Talking about our client-facing employees, we have client managers, manufacturing specialists, that work with us in the different parts of the state. But we all come with the different backgrounds and specialties. So each manufacturing specialist, a lot of it comes with operational excellence. We have food processing, and I'd say those are the two. Being Idaho, those are kind of some of the main components or pillars of what we do. So it's great to have client managers that do, have that expertise. Outside of that, I would consider the MEP network. We're like the primary care physicians, and we may not, for general purposes, there's a lot of things that we can cover, but outside of that, there's a lot of third parties and resource providers and resources that we can, work to help you, connect you with. Good majority of my time is just spent kind of fielding calls, emails, kind of people looking for things or, updates, or different resources in the area. And so it's always great to help those small to medium manufacturers that we can. All right, next slide. Okay. So some of the new services that we're going to be talking about, beyond this are business assessments that both Idaho and Impact Washington are doing. We have a Rural Energy for America program that we're just starting up, and that just kicked off. We're going to have the Small Manufacturers Growth and Support Program that Impact Washington is going to be talking about. And then we have the SCOIN, the Supply Chain Optimization and Intelligence Network that kicked off. It's about a year. It's a 2-year program, and we're about a year into it, so we'll be able to give you an update. We just had a national conference in South Carolina we came back from. So I'll have some more updates on that. Next slide, please. Right. Annabeth or Nick, did you want to kick off on the business assessment or?
Yep, I will. So as Luke mentioned, we have developed a digital business assessment service to help evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of manufacturers. This tool is at no cost, and it's very simple, but very, very powerful. And it serves as the first step to identify your strengths and the root causes of your more pressing challenges. So I want to initiate this with, I'm going to ask you a few questions. You don't have to answer out loud, but just think about the answer. And yeah, just think if any of these questions resonates with you and your current situation in your company. So the first question will be, your team is barely keeping up with orders and doesn't have time to work on improvements. A lack of communication and teamwork negatively impacts your performance. Your organization has multiple competing priorities, and you'd benefit if your team were more focused and aligned. Do you need to grow your customer base? Finding, retaining, upscaling, and hiring quality people, it's difficult. Do you want to gain a more thorough understanding of product costing and margins? Do you want to grow and innovate, but just don't know how? Or are you considering automation, advanced technology, ERP, and other solutions, but just don't know where to start? So if in your mind you answer yes to any of these questions, or you feel identified with any of these questions, that's a good sign that you might consider taking our business assessment. What we do with this assessment, next slide, please. What we do with this assessment is that we ask you questions similar to these ones that I just made, and we will come up with we will give you a scale and a score in that scale in our three main areas: operational excellence, workforce solutions, and the third one,
Growth and innovation.
and workforce solutions, growth and innovation, and operational excellence. So we're gonna give you a score, and we are gonna go through. You're gonna be with your account executive, and you are going to analyze the results, and you are gonna basically create a few things. You're going to create a path to growth and improvement, but this is going to be something that it's going to be realistic. It's not like we are going to say, oh yeah, tomorrow you're gonna be Amazon. No, we're gonna do something that is realistic and something that you can actually achieve with the resources you have. We are going to create like a plan to add value to your business, and we are going to understand your situation and gain fresh and objective insights of your business. Next slide, please. So how does it work? You're going to connect with your account executive or your region expert, and they are going to provide you with a link to the survey. It's a very simple survey. As I mentioned, our questions similar to the one I asked you. So you're gonna go through the questions and you're gonna answer. One thing to keep in mind is as many people inside your company answer the survey, the better, because we're gonna be able to assess your situation from different points of view. And then once you and your team answer the questions, you are going to review with your account executive. All this is done with your account executives because they are going to guide you on this process. You are going to review the processes and the tools and how they align with your business goals. And I've been in a few of these sessions, and it's very cool how the account executives help you, because sometimes you think, oh yeah, I want to be successful, but okay, but let's dig deeper on what your actual goal is. And it's very cool how they help you get an insight on where are you right now and where are you going, where do you want to go. So that's the next step, discuss the future state goals. And then your account executive is going to, with your collaboration, your guys are going to create a roadmap for people and processes management and prioritize improvement plan. So you're gonna understand, you're gonna see, okay, I fall red in, let's say, layout. So you're gonna dig deep on understanding the root causes of that. Why are you falling red in plan layout? And your account executive is going to help you create a plan to fix that. And then, yeah, you're gonna create the implementation plan. And in that point, it's up to you to decide if you wanna take into considerations the recommendations and continue the work with the account executive. Yeah, that's basically it. Next slide, please. Is there anything that you want to add, Luke, to the business assessment, something that you guys do differently in Idaho?
Yeah, actually, one quick note to tie in there. We're actually about to launch our business assessment, so it's going to be similar to what Impact Washington's doing, but we're really excited to kind of use the tool and see what the results are and kind of work with more manufacturers with it. So, but we're at our launch phase right now. So stay tuned. I guess maybe next webinar we'll be able to talk more about the results we're seeing out of it. So. And then talking about one of the new programs mentioned earlier is the Rural Energy for America program. So this is just kicking off. Our center is working on staffing up. This is going to be a combination of one of our manufacturing specialists leading this with some support from, I believe it's going to be ISU and one of their programs. But this is going to be opening up some USDA grant funding. And what's going to happen is if companies are open to kind of doing an energy audit, our team can come in and help out with doing the assessment, building the report. And then that report is something that they will be able to be presented to the USDA for grant funding. And I think, do you know what the
50% of the funding from grants will be eligible for companies who do the energy audits.
Yeah.
So
yeah, pretty, like I said, new program for us. So we have I think there's about 2 or 3 companies that we're kind of working with right now for launching those first assessments. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what comes of it. So happy to provide more information as well. And then there's the QR code for the interest if you are interested. Next slide, please.
I'll take it here for the Small Manufacturers Growth and Support Program. So quick highlights. About a year ago, Department of Commerce sent out 22 grant awardees for the Small Business Innovation Fund, and we were one of those. We were able to take $500,000 of funding and provide consulting and training services for underserved manufacturers throughout the state. Rural, BIPOC, LGBTQ, women-owned, veteran-owned, all that. And so we were so successful with that our board of directors for this year actually approved to pull from an internal fund that we have and to reinvest that exact same program, basically copy paste it once over. Katie, Walla Walla, yes. County being, looking at my map over here in Walla Walla County, you are rural. We'd love to talk with you. We'll have our info at the end of this. Next slide, please. Headcount for that is right here. So less than 20 employees is the headcount target, but we're happy to talk either way. So we typically do about 80 hours is the max on this, and it's really on any topic you need. And some of those common topics are on the next slide, I believe. And working with small, rural, underserved type businesses, we found some pretty common services that fit well in that 80-hour model. Can you go to the next slide? I think there's some examples there. The process is actually exactly what you heard about. You take the business evaluation that Annabeth walked through, and then we just do a facilitated discussion, get the scope of work built, and then get boots on the ground and go deliver. So we can skip these process steps. You already heard about that, and skip that one. So some typical things that we found especially effective. We're happy to hear what your business needs are, but the smaller companies, oftentimes growing marketing and sales is a big challenge. Operational excellence as well is a tough one. A lot of people wearing a lot of hats, not having time to work on lean and continuous improvement. And then anybody looking for a growth path, some common things that come up are quality management systems. You want to actually get a certification to apply for more business. And then facility layout as well, trying to redesign a facility to squeeze more out as you grow. Next slide. Since it is a free program, we do ask one commitment, and that's since we are impact based, there's a survey at the end of all of this, which really is one of the competitive advantage of the MEP network is we're measured by the impacts we provide. So all those numbers that Annabeth reviewed earlier about increased sales, increased jobs, cost takeout. The commitment that we ask from this program and this free grant is to take our impact survey. And then if you're happy with our services, a success story that we will co-publish with you and help get your name out in the market. Next slide. Annabeth.
So,
Or
Nick, we
yeah.
have, just for example, we have a couple of, we have a small machine shop that is family-owned machine shop that is a recipient of this grant, and we're doing strategic planning with them. They're also looking at doing buying some land and building a building so that they can expand, and we're going to do some facility layout with them all through this grant. So it'll those types of things are what will help these really small manufacturers continue to grow and succeed.
Excellent, excellent, love it. And Katie, Jeanette will connect with you after this to see what you got going on in Walla Walla down there.
Okay, and now let's talk about one of our latest initiatives, the SCOIN program. SCOIN stands for Supply Chain Optimization and Intelligence Network. As Luke mentioned before, this program started exactly a year ago. We still have one more year to go. And this program is funded by the federal government under the Chips and Science Act of 2022. And it has three main objectives. One is to provide suppliers with scouting services at zero cost. The second one is to map and understand the supply chains and supplier capabilities across the country, from OEMs to tiers 1 to 4. And lastly, to identify and engage and learn more about the supply chain needs that our OEMs have and how we can help reduce the gaps in supply chain across the country. Next slide, please. So on our mapping efforts in Washington State, what we did is that we decided to create like a master database for the OEMs in our state. The information that we are capturing is not only the basics, company name, address, phone number, but we are trying to dig deeper and we are trying to identify the capabilities that our OEMs have, the certifications they have, who they serve to, the industries they work with, if they're in aerospace, if they're in the semiconductors and the food industry, who they supply to. And one more thing, and that we are trying to do and be very specific at, is we are trying to find point of contact, real point of contact, people that are today, they are inside of the company, that we can call whenever we have a supplier opportunity, and we can get in touch and understand and make sure that they are possible suppliers for this request. Next slide, please. So as you guys know, you might be thinking there are already a bunch of databases out there. It's true, there are some of the most common ones, CAMAS, DMB. But one thing that all these databases have in common is that they are either not complete, they are not up to date, the information there is not validated. Sometimes they are very difficult to manage. The whole filters and stuff is very complicated. But the most important one is that they are not easy to share. In most of them, if you want to get a lot of information about the company, you have to pay a membership or a fee. We don't do any of that. Our database is complete. As I said, we are validating the information that we have there, and we are doing our best to keeping it up to date, but it's also very easy to share, and we won't charge for share any of this information. Next slide, please. The industries that we have mapped out in Washington state so far are the semiconductors, which is very important because this program started because of the huge shortage of chips that we had during COVID. That's the reason why the government said, okay, let's launch this initiative. So with this mapping, we realized that we have 27 companies in Washington state that are part of the semiconductor supply chain industry. That's very important for us. We have also mapped out the chemicals, paper, plastic industries. So you can come to us and help us. And if you want help finding a supplier in one of these industries, you can contact and we will help that. A few areas that we are trying to focus because they are important in Washington state's economy are the DoD industry, the medical industry, and the agriculture industry. Yes, definitely. Yeah, we can filter by region, by zip code, by NIST code, by capabilities. Yes, absolutely. Next slide, please. So, as you guys know, databases, they only work if we keep them up to date. If we have a database today and we don't do anything else, in a year from now, the information there, it's not going to be important. So what are we doing? We open a manufacturer's directory in our website where we are inviting manufacturers to join. So when they join, they not only have a place to basically do free marketing for your business. You're going to put your business out there, your capabilities, and other manufacturers are going to be able to find you. But also, it is a great way for us to gather information coming from you in terms of the point of contact, your capabilities, your certification. And as you update the information there, we are updating our database. So we invite you guys to join and to keep it up to date, and that way our database will keep that manufacturing directory is feeding our database, and our database will be up to date. Next slide, please. In Idaho, since we share this initiative with all the MEP centers, Idaho has a few inputs there too.
All right. Thanks, Annabeth. And just kind of continuing the conversation on OEM mapping and supply chain mapping. So each center, and we're going to, in a few slides from now, we're going to actually talk about the other components of this program, and that's actually sourcing, fielding, supply chain requests, and then sourcing them and sending them out. But continuing on mapping, each state's kind of doing it a little differently. And there's a lot of collaboration going on. We have a node that's between Idaho, Washington, Montana, Oregon. And so that's something that we're going to be on monthly calls kind of talking about the supply chains, because obviously supply chains don't end at the state borders. So it's kind of important to know, who the industries are and the sectors within your state, and then who, in the surrounding states, who suppliers could be in those states. So for me, I started living in Idaho about a little over a couple of years ago, and didn't have a lot of the tribal knowledge that other people have about the companies, industries, the regions, and whatnot. So one of the tools we use is some Microsoft Power BI to do some dynamic reporting on this. And what was great was just the understanding of the manufacturers and all the support to manufacturers that goes on within the state. I think what people interpreted how many manufacturers companies would fall in that industry and categories. After seeing like kind of building out reports off of Dunn's information, I mean, it's closer to 10,000, which is significantly more. And especially since in the last year with launching this program, the MEP centers, actually, let me touch on this really quick, is we operate primarily off of companies that have NAICS codes that fall within the manufacturing industries. And then there's some outside of traditional manufacturing NAICS codes that are maybe support to the manufacturing industry, like trucking, warehousing, engineering services. So that kind of opened our scope to by quite a bit after kind of running the results on that. But it's it's pretty interesting to be able to look at the state and visualize, like if you look at the state holistically and see what the top industries are, but then a state like Idaho, and I'm sure Washington's probably the same, when you look at it by region, it's drastically different when you go from northern Idaho to southeast Idaho to southwest Idaho, and knowing all those companies that operate within those. And before we go to the next slide, this is a lot of this reporting is it can be used at high level, but doesn't have the in-depth knowledge that you need to actually understand who can fulfill supplier scouting requests. So let's go to the next, please. And Impact Washington talked about their directory. We're working with IMA with their Connect directory. This one is it's a publicly available. There's no login or anything needed to get to it, and this is all self-reporting by manufacturers. But this is something that gives us the depth of knowledge to understand, like when we're looking at a scouting request and trying to find companies that have the capabilities, their location and whatnot. That's one of the toughest things that we, come into, is that we have these requests and we're trying to find companies with the capabilities to fulfill those requests and create those matches. So the Connect directory is something that's very helpful with actually understanding what, with companies and what industries they serve, what type of equipment they operate, what kind of throughput they can handle, and this is, it's a great tool, and, we lean on it when we can, but, it's all based off of self-reporting. So we always try to promote manufacturers to go in there, fill out their profile and fill it out well, just so, people are trying to make matches. It's easy to, see who they are and what they do. And next slide, please. All right. And Beth, you want me to talk, or do you got?
I can do it. Yep. Okay. So the other part of the program, as I mentioned at the beginning, the other objective is to provide supplier scouting services to manufacturers. So any manufacturer can come to us and ask us to find them a supplier for a specific need. The need could be basically anything. It could be a material, a part, a equipment, technology, anything that you need to manufacture your product. So once you identify your need, you can contact us. If you're in Idaho, you will contact Luke. If you're in Washington, you can contact me. And you are basically going to tell us what are you looking for. It's important to keep in mind that as many details that you can share with us, the better, because that way we can do a better research for you. So once you have provided us with your request, what we're going to do is, since we are working in collaboration with all the centers across the country, what we will do is that we will share your request with NIST, which is the one that manage us, and NIST will share your request with the other centers across the country. And we all going to start working on finding suppliers for your request. Once we're going to have a scouting period, something to keep in mind is that ideally the scouting period is at least 30 days so that we can do the best job possible. We understand that sometimes there are things that are urgent and that you need shared scouting period, and we can work on that, but ideally 30 days is better for us. And then when the scouting period is over, we will share with you the results. Basically, you're going to receive a report with all the possible suppliers across the country in every state, and the point of contact for each of those suppliers. Is there anything you want to add here, Luke?
Yeah, just really quickly on this one. I mean, I think it's a pretty powerful program for, being a kind of a free program that manufacturers can utilize, but it's, given the ability to actually fill one of the, do an intake form. I will say that, this is something that's going out on the national network to all the other states, and they're doing the same OEM mapping and everything within their state, and they have all their clients and manufacturers they know the network with that they're going to be reaching out to. So, as far as you're going to want to share as much information that's helpful enough to get across, for creating that match, obviously not oversharing, information, but it's one of those things that when we do a submission, it's out for 30 days. And it's, I'd say we've got a couple out right now, and we've gotten a lot of results back for manufacturers that we've worked with in our state. So yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and if confidentiality is a concern for you, we can work with NDAs. It's something that we have done. Just I just want to encourage you to use this program because it's at zero cost. We basically work as an extension to your procurement department. So we can work and adapt to your needs, and keep your information as safe as possible while delivering to you. Next slide. Oh, and if you are interested in finding opportunities, something that we are doing and TechHelp is also doing, we are posting the open opportunities or the open scouting requests that are out there right now in our websites. So you could go to our websites and see all the open scouting requests that are out there. And if there is any that you think, I can maybe supply this need, feel free to contact us and we will make that connection there for you. This is how it looks in Impact Washington, and this is how it looks for TechHelp.
Great, thanks for that. Getting to the end of our time here, we reserved a little bit of time for interactive Q&A, and I know that navigating the MEP network, as you can see, is almost an avalanche of resources and hard to know where to go, but we're here right now to answer any questions on the top of your mind. And thanks everybody, and Nandita will have this recording as well available.
Yes, and
Okay.
also the slides.
Yep, great. And thanks again, Mark and NIMA, for putting this on. Excellent collaborator and partner of ours, and see many future site visits together with Inland Northwest, Eastern Washington manufacturers. So we'll see you out there. Thanks.